And we are live. Welcome to Nerdarchy, for nerds by nerds. I'm Nerdarchist Ted. We're going to be running some 5th edition Dungeons and Dragons. So I'm going to toss it off to our players, allow them to introduce themselves, who they're playing, and then we'll get back into it. So let's start off with you, Paul.
Oh, I'll be playing Nosa Kesa, a tiefling Pact of the Old One. What's the other one? Great Old One Warlock. Pact of the Chain.
Jake.
I'm Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, and I'm going to be playing Phalar, a Furbolg Paladin, Oath of the Ancients.
Mike.
I will be playing Maneo, the Goliath Drubarian.
And last but not least, we have Asa.
And I will be playing Julius, the Tiefling Rogue, who is also a fire swallower and knife specialist. Background as a performer.
All right, thank you guys. So this is our continuing game of the RPG Crate material. This is sponsored by the wonderful people over at RPG Crate. If you jump down to the description below, you can use the promo code. I believe it's Nerdarchy RPG Crate. Pretty cut and dry. That'll get you 10% off your first month subscription. So go ahead and check that out. The material that I'm running here is totally from their box. They're great. They're ready to go. You can catch episode 1 that we ran last month, and the material there I thought was a lot of fun. Some of these guys were in that game, and it's going to be the same kind of thing. These are all one shots, things that you can just pick up and drop right into your game. So please check out RPG Crate. So our adventure today starts off in the Arctic North. Survival in the North is unrelenting test against the winds of winter. To thrive in the North, you must learn to adapt and endure. Traveling beyond North Flume to Ice Bend, you say? Be prepared for a frozen torment. The towns up there are few and far distant from each other, and a frozen lake one week can become bitter cold rapids the next. Don't get wet, my friend. You'll catch the frozen fever. And if you do find yourself in the water, well, then it's already too late. So our adventure takes place on the North Road. About a week or two ago, you were in the town of Everblue, and you were contracted by Nate and his father Brennan to escort Brennan to his ancestral home, the home of Ice Bend, where these elves live. They are Arctic elves, dark skin and white flowing hair that matches the snow that they call home. While Brennan is old, he is still fit, and he and his son are equipped and ready for the journey. They have offered you gold for safe passage, for not only is the wilderness and an environment rough, but there are creatures and things that will beset any on the open road. As your journey travels, you are fraught with ever-changing temperatures and weather, whether it be cold rain or freezing hail. It has pushed you to your limits as you travel northward towards home. You have already had some battles to show you the harshness of this winter environment. So I'm going to throw this out to you guys as far as agency. What have you already fought, and did you overcome it, or did you have to flee? Don't all talk at once.
Who to go first? Well, all right. So I would say the first thing we came across would probably be a snow yeti, and throughout the battle, while the other members of the party did their own thing, which Julius paid very little attention to, he found a way to sneak up over one of the ledges so that he could dislodge a large amount of stone and snow to collapse or to come down right on top of the creature. In that moment, he was a little overzealous and accidentally pinned, I would say probably the paladin, who had been mostly engaged with this creature, pinned him under a large boulder as well.
So that would be Phalar, the Furbolg.
Yeah. To which he didn't lift a great hand to try to help out. So I'm going to leave that one open for you guys. How does Phalar get free from the boulder he is under?
I imagine
I'm
whilst
very strong.
I imagine whilst waiting for the Goliath to free him, my imp would probably try and get him to sign some kind of nonsense contract for his freedom. But it depends how attached to his rations he is.
It takes more than a boulder pinning my legs and lower torso down to get me to agree to sign anything that you put before me. As the Goliath is trying to get me out, I've got my great warhammer and I'm whacking at this rock, just trying to crack it so I can get out of here before the Yeti takes advantage of that.
Well, I believe Asa was saying that the Yeti was crushed and pinned as well. So that's how it was defeated.
Right, but it's crushed underneath with me, and until we move the rock, I don't know if it's completely dead. I don't want the lower half of me to be crushed and eaten.
Let's see here. So, Nate is not a weakling, so he offers to help the Goliath move the stone. Sharing that, a hammer on rock in this open land would give far more signal to any further creatures of the dangers, or that not of the dangers, but of our presence. It's not the wisest of moves. So is there anything else that somebody wanted to share of your journeys?
Every now and then, some members of the party might seem a little bit off and shorter, physically shorter to each other. Some crude jokes, some stolen lunches.
Speaking of stolen lunches, despite how prepared you were, the journey is taking longer than what was initially thought. And this barren landscape offers little in the way of food in hunt or in scavenging, and your rations are running low.
Well, it appears our rations are running low. I promise I haven't been eating more than my share.
It's that darn imp.
In reality, probably have been swiping a few more rations than need be.
No. He's perfectly harmless as he's following the paladin at a distance, just floating, holding up extra rations and a small piece of parchment.
So after about 2 weeks of your journey, you set camp one night. As the snow piles up, the small amount of fire that you're able to call forth is barely keeping the freezing temperatures at bay. Do you guys set a standard watch? How are you handling handling that?
Well, I'll be the first to get some sleep. You guys wake me when something exciting happens.
So who's taking first watch?
Suppose
I'll take first watch.
All right. So the Goliath offers the first of the shifts. The wind whips, and it starts to snow a little bit heavier, and the fire under the wind and snow is struggling to remain lit. What do you do to attempt to keep it burning?
Produce flame cantrip.
How long does that burn? Isn't that just
10
an attack?
minutes.
Okay.
10 minutes.
All right. So you're able to produce fire and keep things warm at 10 minutes at a time. Who takes second watch?
I'll take second watch.
All right. So the what do you currently look like?
When
Go ahead, Mike.
when he relieves me, I tell him that when it's time for the rogue's watch to let me know, I'll wake him up.
So what are you currently looking like, since you don't like to look like the tiefling?
Currently, the first thing that'll go past is the imp. And then as the druid turns and looks at the imp, you'll turn to find a larger version of the imp. Also football.
All right, so we have a large imp on watch. About 10 minutes into your watch, the bright fire that was there, diminishes down to a piddly flame. But things seem quiet. The only thing that you hear is the wind moving through the far off trees. Do you wake up the furbolg or the tiefling?
I'll wake up the furbolg by telepathically just eerie voices and whispers.
It takes a few moments to wake him up, as hearing these whispers, he's just batting at his ears, and then finally jerks awake and reluctantly gets up to take over the watch. His armor has furs tucked into it. He is from a much more temperate zone than this area originally. So Phalar does not care for this cold at all. So he's rather disappointed that you've allowed the fire to dwindle. So with a disgusted snort, he will immediately try stoking the fire up.
Do you wish to make a survival roll, sir?
Yeah, we'll do that since I don't have produce flames. But we don't need fires in the south where I'm from, so I have no idea what I'm doing with a 5 in survival. I imagine I actually somehow managed to kick snow onto half of the embers. So anybody that's awake would just hear.
So the light diminishes, the heat diminishes as a portion of the fire goes out. Your unknown companion, who was a small furbolg, and then a large imp, has retreated to his bedroll. It is with as much sound or as loud as possible Phalar, that you hear something large tromping through the snow in your direction, or heading into your direction. The little light pouring from the moon shows two very large shadowy figures approaching the fire. They're about 60 feet away.
I allow them to get just a little bit closer, maybe another 10 feet closer, before I say, with my head half turned toward my sleeping companions, and I simply say, "Halt! Who goes there?"
What language are you speaking in?
I would start off in common. Actually, wait. We're escorting elves, correct?
Yes.
I think actually I would start off in Elvish.
You can tell from the size of the shadows, these are certainly no elves. These are bigger than you.
Oh, well, in that case, I would say quickly shift to Giant and say, "Halt! Who goes there?"
So responding.
Hearing Giant, I go to, like, what?
Responding in kind, it replies, "Want food." They don't halt though.
Your best. Keep moving. We have no food.
Are we all sufficiently awake by now?
It's up to you guys as to the shouting of the furbolg and creatures that are now about 40 feet away.
And I imagine the Giant language is much more guttural, and Phalar would project a little bit more, still half turned to his party. So if you're not awake, I'm kicking snow in your face.
No need for that. Anyone that doesn't wake up to that will get thunderclapped.
So
all right.
The leadmost creature points towards one of the forms that's rising from its bedroll. "Their food."
I'm gonna say he's pointing at me, and I look. Who, me? No, I'm not food. I'm quite stringy. I guarantee you, I'd be hardly more than a mouthful.
Tiefling's friends, not food.
True.
You have more meat than I have in my pouch. And he shakes his empty sack.
Oh, I assure you, it's not meat. It's mostly clothes to keep us warm. We're very cold. We're very thin, very small.
Are both of these figures roughly the same size, or does one appear to be larger than the other one?
They are about the same size. They're not twins or anything, but they stand between 10 and 11 feet tall.
Well, you do realize that he, and I point to the other one than the one that was talking, has more meat on him than all of us put together.
They look at each other. "Me not eat him, me eat you."
I would actually laugh at him. You will not fare well if you try.
I'm going to take a moment and use my my. I can never say this spell. Thaumaturgy.
Thaumaturgy. Yep.
Thaumaturgy. And I'm going to attempt to recreate the sound the Yeti made and amplify it so that it sounds like it's coming from behind them.
Okay.
Do you need me to roll something on that?
Let me see here.
Maybe like a deception check or something, just
Yeah,
kind of fool them. Yeah.
Now I'm not even gonna make your roll. My
Oh, good.
my insight is a 1.
Okay.
So they
And I'll kind of say, I bet you that thing's got a lot of meat on it as well.
so they take a couple rounds and they're looking. Me no see it. Wear it.
We should either go or attack if we're gonna try to get out of this situation.
At this
When
point,
they turn,
just point towards Steven. Just 1 second, and start to just slowly fly up towards their face level and appear to be a snow yeti, waiting for them to turn back around.
also while they're turned around, I'd like to cast fairy fire on them just in case it devolves into combat.
While
Alright,
that's
so-
happening, I'll ready myself in case it goes poorly.
All right. So Paul, you want to look like a snow yeti?
Yeah, but I'll be using my wings to float roughly at eye level with them.
Okay. So once they realize that there's nothing behind them, they turn around. They see the a snow yeti in front of them. One of them utterly balks and takes a step back. The other one takes a swing. So that is Nosair. And he solidly connects with you. For 13 points of damage, sir.
I will yelp. My fur will turn red, and fire will just burst out towards him. You can give me a dex save.
Dex save?
Yeah, for a hellish rebuke.
He failed.
Wonderful.
I don't care what your DC is. This
So that is 12 fire.
12 fire damage. All right. So do we want to get initiatives in the chat, please?
Was I able to get fairy fire on them before
Yes, sir.
initiative?
Yes, sir.
Holy crap! I actually rolled a decent number.
All right. 7 rolls in a row. Nothing above a 10. So I'm retiring that die for the night. All right, so it looks like Mike's at the top with a 21. So what are you doing there, Mike?
Are they 20 feet away from me, at least?
They are 20, 30 feet away.
Okay. I would like to. Okay. I'm not Circle of the Moon, so it's an action to transform. Screw it. I'm turning into an elk.
All right. Paul.
So, what's the if I was right in front of the other one, how far away am I from everyone?
You're probably 15 feet away from your Furbolg companion, and then he's probably 5 or 10 feet away from everybody else.
I'm about 5 feet away from our presumably giant enemies.
Yeah, you're right in front of them.
Okay. In which case, I'll go for Sword Burst, which is another dex saving throw.
Okay. Does that hit one or both?
Everything in 5 feet.
All right, one passes. All right, so one passed, one failed.
So, spectral swords will burst from my wings and deal a whopping 2 points of damage.
So the pass, does that take nothing or half?
It's save a suck. It's just a cantrip.
Okay. All right. Asa.
Yeah. Can I attempt to move directly up away from them with my movement?
If you do so, you will provoke an attack of opportunity.
I do have. Yeah, I'll stay with them. Yeah.
Okay.
By readying for combat, I had drawn out my 2 daggers, but I'm still laying in my sleeping stuff on the ground. I'm gonna roll to the nearest large bank of snow and try to tuck myself behind it.
Okay.
And I made a stealth check. It's in the chat.
Yep.
And I believe.
So you're doing that as your bonus action to hide.
Yes.
Yeah. That clearly, you clearly disappear from view.
All right. And then I'm gonna take. Maybe I'll just take this time to kind of maneuver myself into a better position so that I don't know, it's more of a flanking angle. So maybe just kind of crawling behind some snow and getting myself in a position where I don't think they're going to see me, and then I'll pop up and throw something at them next turn.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So they're seeing. Do you still look like a snow yeti, Paul?
At the moment, still a flaming red snow yeti. With that looks like it does actually have a tail for some reason, and it is firmly between its legs.
All right. And you, with your massive 12 armor class, you might be unconscious, sir.
It's a good start.
You know you're playing right when a player drops in the first combat.
On the second turn.
Right?
So you just took 2 great clubs to your midsection, and you are crumpled and unconscious.
As I hit the floor, just one weak finger, and can I still use reaction if it knocks me unconscious?
What is it that you want to use a reaction for?
It would have been Hellish Rebuke. It depends which great club knocked me unconscious. If it was 2 attacks, I guess.
It was 2 attacks, so you would be able to use it on the first one, absolutely.
Yeah, so it's another dex save to whoever hit me.
It's going to fail.
For 20 fire.
20 fire, wow. Do you know how much you did on the first one?
Ooh, 12?
12?
Yeah. That was 2 8s and a 4.
Okay. All right, so you are unconscious, and we are up to Mike.
All right. So
I haven't gone yet.
Are they fairy fire? Oh.
Who did I miss?
I haven't gone yet.
Oh, I'm
Jake.
sorry. My apologies. Jake, you're absolutely up. My apologies.
All right, so how far away are they? Because I never moved from the fire, and they turned around to follow this.
Well, they didn't go anywhere. They literally just did a 180 looking for the Yeti.
So how close were they to us? Were they right up on us?
They were about 20, 30 feet away.
Oh, okay. Then I can get to them.
Absolutely.
And the one that just knocked out the smart-ass tiefling.
Well, there's one that's pretty beat up from the hellish rebukes, and one that's completely undamaged.
Well, then the undamaged one is going to get a Furbolg warhammer to the face. As I'm running at him and swinging this hammer, I'm saying, "Just remember, we gave you the chance to continue on." Son of a... As I swing wildly with a 6, I'm going to assume that doesn't hit.
I will, before I answer that question, I will remind you guys, I always start off the sessions, and I always forget, you guys all have inspiration to use.
I do remember that.
So if you were to choose to reroll...
I absolutely do.
The end of fairy fire?
Would he have advantage anyway because of my fairy fire?
Oh, that's right. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. Well, then I won't use the inspiration. I'll use the advantage, which is now a 19.
19 is going to solidly connect.
You always got to roll and then talk crap.
Yeah. I never do that. I never do that. So that's going to be, as I'm wielding it with 2 hands and a bonus action divine smiting. That's going to be a D8 of radiant on top of a D10. Let's see, plus 2.
Get out
So
the
that's
abacus.
7. Yeah, 7 from the bludgeoning plus another 5 radiant for 12 total damage from my warhammer as it flashes with a brilliant radiant blast.
Oh, sparkly light hurt. All right, now it is Mike's turn.
All right, I'm going to take this chance to ram him if I can move at least 20 feet in a straight line.
You can absolutely get that.
All right, so 19 to hit.
19 easily hits. Are you going after the one the Furbolg just smacked, or the one that the unconscious tiefling was rebuking?
I'll get the one off the tiefling. And so 13 damage, and then
Okay.
I need a strength saving throw, which probably isn't going to matter.
What is your DC?
DC 13.
He
13.
passes.
I figured. And then I'm going to keep running. I don't want to be stuck in his face.
You don't have anything that's going to make you avoid attacks opportunity, right?
No, it doesn't say so.
Okay.
So go ahead and swing away.
He will take a swing at you.
14 AC in this form.
You have so battered him that my wondrous dice, who love things 9 and below, 9 is after his bonuses, so he misses, sir.
You're rolling like me today.
All right, so we move on to Paul. Can I get a death save, sir?
Ooh, maybe. 17.
17. You have a pass. Asa, you are up, sir.
Quick question. Technically, do you have to be a player character to try and stabilize?
Are you saying can the imp stabilize you?
Attempt to.
So the question
Depends
is,
on how well you get along.
what is the relationship with the imp? Medicine is a wisdom check. So you would have a +1. So real quick, give me the sales pitch of why the imp would do this.
We have a standing contract, whereas if such an occasion were to arise, I will buy him whatever he likes from the shiniest stall at the next town.
Okay. Well, I will roll it, and do you want to roll it? My dice suck.
Never mind.
All right. So he fails to stabilize you this round. Maybe we'll see what happens next round. So yeah, on to Asa.
On to me. All right, so I'm gonna pop up from behind my nearest snowbank and throw a dagger at the one that looks like he's been beat up by the hellish rebuke. He looks like he might go down soon.
Okay.
Oh, that's a wonderful 2. But since I'm attacking from hiding, do I have advantage?
Oh well, you have advantage because of fairy fire.
Oh, right. Okay. So that's also a 2. That's 2 2s in a row. So
does that mean you put on a 2/2?
Yeah, apparently it does. I pop up, do a little flourish. I'm wearing a 2/2. I throw my dagger. It goes wild, lands in a tree somewhere.
Mike, that was not a failed death save. That was a failed medicine check for the imp to try and stabilize him. He actually passed his first death save. So,
I was just curious because anytime someone fails a medicine check in my games, I'm like, yeah, that counts as a death fail.
no, I don't actually go all out like that one.
Okay.
So Nate and Brennan step up, and they are going to They're going to swing. Yes.
Before my turn ends, because I failed so wildly, does it look like they see me?
Well,
my 2/2 might give me away.
You made an attack, so that technically reveals your presence.
Oh, I know. I just wanted to see if I could do a hide again, or if that's going to be it.
If you have a bonus action to use and you want to hide, you absolutely can.
Definitely, yeah. So I'll make a break for the tree my dagger landed in and try to like duck behind that. And that's a 8 hide check. No, I'm sorry, that's a 12.
12. That works. You don't think you don't think they saw you. So Brennan moves in, and his sword is not as quick as his grandson. So they, he misses, but his grandson, snakes through and actually lands a solid strike with his sword. So that one is looking, pretty battered. And they're going to return. So the one that Nate just hit is going to swing at him. He's going to solidly connect. The other one is going to swing at Phalar. And that's going to solidly connect. So Phalar, you took 13. Ow. Nate took a bunch. Jake, you're up, sir.
The one that just hit me, as I reel back from getting struck by this thing, I just let my warhammer just kind of slide through my hands so that I'm holding it more at the end, grip it with both hands, and I actually give it a wind up as I come in for an uppercut.
Nice.
Against this thing. And that's going to be a 17 to hit.
You do hit, but
it's advantage because of the fairy fire.
That's what I was going to say.
That is a 22 to hit.
I just was hoping, we're not hoping, but I was giving you the option of, possibly getting the crit. So.
Right. And this is, I'm not doing the divine smite, so this is just going to be straight versatile damage. Glancing blow of 5 across his chin, hopefully.
All right. I mean, you went for his chin, and he kind of moved a little bit. Despite his size, he's a little bit more nimble. You actually catch him on the shoulder. He just kind of growls at you, and we move on.
Can I?
Go ahead.
As a bonus action, you can attack with your offhand, correct?
Yes.
And drawing a weapon is part of that action, correct?
Uh-huh.
So as I kind of lightly connect with him, I want to drop one hand down to my dagger and just try to slip it into him.
Okay.
If you'll allow that.
I can go for that.
So that is offhand, so there's no proficiency bonus. That's just a straight roll, correct?
You're proficient. You just don't get the stat. You don't get the stat on damage.
All right. Well, it doesn't matter. Even with the advantage, that is a 12.
That hits.
Oh, it does?
Yeah.
So I managed to slide that up in there with a 4 more points of piercing.
There you go. All right. Mike, you're up, sir.
Still 2 of them?
There's still 2 of them. One is looking pretty shaky.
Real rub? Okay, I'm going to go for that one with another charge attack. 15 to hit with 12 damage.
All right. You want to describe what happens?
Another strength save unless he's dead.
Oh, he's dead.
Okay.
That's what
I put my antlers under his kneecaps as I take him from behind and flip him in the air. Just when he hits the ground, he doesn't move again. I will then position myself in between the other one and the thing laying on the ground that hasn't stabilized yet. I can't remember what he is right now.
They're ogres.
No, I mean the tiefling that's not a tiefling at the moment.
He kind of looks like a red snow yeti, but he's got a tail and not quite sure it works. So the other ogre, he kind of stops and is like, I just wanted food, and he kind of bends down to the other creature, and unless one of you guys else know giant, only the furbolg is able to understand his whimpering murmurs.
The Goliath does too.
Oh, okay. So half of you guys, understand his whimpering murmurs as he's trying to staunch the blood flow from his hungering companion. What do you guys do?
Does it look like he's out of the fight?
He does not look like he's fighting.
I'll casually walk out from behind my tree and say, "Well, you shouldn't pick on food that bites back."
You didn't have to fight us. And I'll look at the Goliath, who's the only other one that understands, and just say, you don't need to die here today.
But
Go.
the option is yours.
So the ogre is ignoring you guys as he's his hands are coated in blood from the many injuries on the other guy as he's trying to staunch the blood flow that's now leaking out over the snow.
I will continue to bleed.
I would, if he's not fighting us, and he's dealing with his fallen companion, I'll go over to the tiefling and lay on hands.
Okay.
And I'm going to give you 10 hit points to get back on your feet.
Thank you, good sir. As I
What
get
a
back on my
mighty
feet.
performance this adventure will make. Did you see all the wonderful things I was doing out there, diving and rolling and flourishing? I single-handedly took out that giant on my own.
I pull a dagger out of a tree and hand it to him.
Oh, thank you. I also vanquished the tree. It was quite the threat. I'm surprised you didn't see it.
I saw quite clearly the baby treant has perished.
Now. It was at least an adolescent.
But a sapling.
I chop off its mandibles. Wait, wrong character.
So the somewhat young elf, he looks like, he turns to you guys. Are we gonna just let the ogre wander off? Or are we gonna?
He's clearly frightened by our mighty presence. Let him do his thing. He'll probably eat his companion or something. He's found his food.
That's horrifying.
Well, the mountains are a cold and dangerous place.
So, do we want to continue resting here, or do we, since we're up, do we carry on?
I've already fallen asleep.
I have no
Well,
desire to sleep next to, while this guy's still around. I will not be closing my eyes.
I suppose I could take a bit of a watch myself. I need to find the way of telling the story in its best possible version. Lots of me.
Lots of you, huh?
You tell your stories how you need to tell them.
Well,
So,
they have to be told with the correct amount of physical emphasis. I mean, I do more than just talk. I use the daggers and the fire and all the things.
so Nate kind of comes to you, Asa, and tries to egg you on in a conversation. Meanwhile, Brennan comes over to the Furbolg and says, "Did the Tiefling actually land a hit?"
I do not know. I do not know. All I know is I struck more than once with my hammer. What anyone else did is beyond me. But to hear the little one, I don't know. How little is your tiefling? I don't know why I said little.
At the moment, he's kind of
Well,
Yeti
compared to you.
sized.
All right, so you guys travel on for another couple hours, and then dawn settles in. So the
So
north
do I wake
road,
up and not see anyone?
no, they make sure you get up and join them.
Okay.
So the north road beyond Everblue is not heavily traveled. Days pass without encountering another soul. Long hours spent on the road offers time to talk and learn more of your traveling companions. One hill leads only to the next valley. Days begin to blur. The monotony of the road numbs the mind, even as a cold wind numbs the body. The north road weaves in and out of the forest and along a windswept beach near choppy water. The terrain slowly begins to change as the air grows colder. In the distance, snow-capped mountains reach towards the sky. You eventually find yourself upon a massive chasm. And this is the first landmark that you have been looking for, and that is North Flume. It is a canyon of ice and stone, 200 yards across and a mile deep. It extends beyond the limits of your vision, both east and west. Standing on the south rim, you can hear the winds eerily whistle up from the dark depths. The far rim is a glacial wall. Cold wind rushes out of the divide, mixing with the humidity above and creating walls of razor-sharp ice barbs that glitter in the sun. When you first see the glacier, or the chasm, I should say, in the distance, Nate speaks up and claims that in many ages past, it said that a great dragon that was either blue or white or both or who knows, was sent to use his mighty breath weapon to create this vast chasm. But in doing so, it actually set forth a horde of demons, and it is only through the elves uniting together were they able to not defeat the demons, but to drive them back into the chasm, where they used magic to freeze and melt to melt and then freeze the snow to form a glacier tomb for these unholy beings. And he'll go into as much depth as you guys are willing to withstand.
Tell us the whole story. It's very fascinating.
So he goes into like all the elven tribes that united together and the different types of creatures that came out. Some things that were massive and hideous down to small and minuscule that set upon wrecking havoc across the land. Things with wings and things that breathe fire. Pretty much every description of demon you've ever heard, and then some, as he just goes on and on.
And I assume that they filled this mountain full of their treasures, otherwise we wouldn't be here, correct?
I don't believe there's any treasure in the chasm, but the elves lay claim to this area, and I'm certain there's some treasures out there.
Well, good. Let's find them.
Did we come to bring the tieflings back? Is that what we're doing?
The elves. You're escorting. Oh.
This whole adventure was just to see if Julius was interested in this area or if he just wanted to go home again.
Yes,
it's a giant rock. Let's go.
Quite amusing that a pair of tieflings have, come into a, once demon-infested area.
That should go over well.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure these weren't my ancestors. Probably the other guys.
I only see one tiefling.
Oh, yeah, clearly we have the large actual demon right here. He's probably the one who came out and did all that crazy stuff.
So a couple of times...
demons can shape change.
A couple of times, Nate or Brennan, backpedals in startlement as they're reaching for their swords until they realize that you're not one of the demons and that you're one of the people they've hired. At least once they've asked you to please stop doing that.
As soon as they mention it, I then start appearing to be them. As soon as one of them just walks off to go take care of some kind of camp chore or duck behind a bush, I will casually walk back alongside the other one in his form.
I was waiting for that to happen.
As was I. So as you come to the actual chasm of North Flume, the wind is quite strong, and it is apparent that there is going to be quite the treacherous journey crossing this rickety bridge to get across the chasm. The winds might be even too strong to attempt flight. What do you guys do?
Did I ever tell you the story of the bridge keeper, the one you would come to, and he would always ask thee to answer him these questions 3?
No, I have not heard of the bridge keeper with the questions 3.
Well, the story goes that on the other end of this bridge stood a mighty castle, and inside that castle was filled with the most obnoxious of men, but they held the most glorious of treasures. We'll talk about it another time.
Okay. So are you doing anything to prepare for crossing the bridge? It is it's only 200 yards across, but while the bridge itself does not seem to be in any danger from the winds, the bridge is covered in snow and ice, and the winds are howling fiercely. So much so that even speaking is a bit of a challenge to be overheard.
I'm gonna look at the strongest person and say, "Give me a second," and then push me as hard as you can, and then I'm gonna turn into a penguin because it doesn't fly.
I would imagine that would probably be me, the strongest person. You want me to push you, or you want me to throw you?
I don't want to hit the ground.
I mean, penguin golf.
But
in the South,
penguins slide on their belly.
In the South, we have this game with long wooden planks and stone pillars at the far end, and we take a rounded stone and roll it to try to knock over the pillars. I could do the same with you as a penguin. and sort of
Okay.
roll you across the bridge.
I'm cool with that, but don't throw me in the air. I'm not a dwarf.
So yeah, if you turn into a penguin, I will attempt to bowl you across the surface of the bridge, since that's what you want. Just remember,
this is either going to be great or terrible.
I actually look at the others and the elves and say, remember, he asked me to do this.
All right. So
I waddle into position.
all right. So this is a challenging situation to get across. So why don't you guys describe to me what issues, what challenges, what great successes, what great failures, what happens when you try to cross? So tell me what happens.
Well,
Oh, I would have. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, as you requested, once you turn into a penguin, I would pick you up, kind of awkwardly up under the feet, on your belly, and one up under your chest, and just kind of give you this 1, 2, and just hurl you with some apparent skill across the snowy and ice-covered surface of this bridge. It's up to you what happens after I release you.
All right. I would imagine that the throw is fairly good, and he throws me on the side of the bridge that the wind is coming from, so the wind slowly pushes me to the end. As I get to the other side of the bridge from the wind, I realize I'm not going to make it because the wind's blowing me off, and I will transform back into my Goliath form and narrowly escape falling off the ledge.
All right. How about you, Asa? What happens with you?
Well, I will. Julius is probably gonna let the others traverse first before he gives it a shot, but he is going to ready his bow and keep an eye on the skies. And lucky that he did, because there seems to be some predatorial birds coming down to swoop in and nab the giant. And I will take a shot and narrowly miss the first one.
Okay.
And then brag about how successful I was at fending them off as they fly away, realizing that we are a larger threat than they anticipated.
Okay. But do you have any issues getting across?
Oh, no, because I go nice and slow and try to be smart about it. Yeah. I think that'll be good.
How about you, Paul?
My infamily will change into a spider and just scuttle across rather smugly. Every now and then just changing back and taunting me in Infernal. As I very awkwardly just try and follow along. My legs looking a little spidery, but very clearly slippering around. I don't have any real issue, though I do at one point drop my favorite knife.
So it goes over the edge?
It goes over the edge. Never to be seen again.
You hear it, clang a little while later, as it drops the mile to the ground. How about you, Jake?
If it took Julius a long time to get across, it takes Phalar twice as long to get across. Because while he's confident and strong on the land, he does not like heights. He does not like this bridge, the slipperiness of it. There's much... I mean, it takes him a good 15 minutes just to put his first foot on the bridge. And every step, he's got both hands gripping the ropes. And every so often, it does that thing where... just from his own shaking, the whole bridge starts to go like this. Like his feet start going like this under him. And he actually starts just going, oh! So if anything is down in this crevasse, this whatever, it must sound like ghosts wailing for the sound that he's making, and eventually he gets across and just collapses to his knees, scoops up a handful of snow, and kisses it.
So
Julius
I'm
will
gonna.
put a hand. Julius will pat him on the shoulder and say, "There will be songs sung of your bravery."
So I'm going to take some liberty here and say that a couple of times the wind pushes you back a couple of steps, and it's only to your horror that you have to then repeat them while you're crossing.
It's a good thing that nobody can tell in this cold weather, because it probably froze almost immediately, that I soiled my armor a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome. All right. So Nate and Brennan, they're able to traverse as well. They too struggle with the wind, but they manage to actually get across. And short distance later, you find yourselves finally within the town of Ice Bend. The elves wear thick pelts, and you typically see spears and fishing poles, around the different huts. The hide huts are reinforced with large bones, and a very ancient elf comes out to greet, if not you guys, at least the travelers that you were that you were accompanying here. And Naktuk Tyr is he welcomes his elven kinsmen with open arms as they've made their way back home, or at least Brennan calls this place home. Whether Nate does or not, who knows. So what do you guys do?
Immediately assume elf form. So, is there anywhere?
No, I said again. All these elves, have dark skin with long flowing white hair. They're all wrapped in thick layers of furs. You were saying?
So after shifting to a more friendly appearance, I'll go wandering for a place to rest my feet and hopefully pay off what semi-debt I owe to my familiar.
I'll pat Brennan on the shoulder and say, "Good work. We couldn't have gotten here without you. Now, let's find a nice place to sleep. I need a good bed." Then I'll stretch and crack my back.
So Naxuk Tyr, kind of looks around at the the odd conglomerations of at least the three of you, and so wasn't there a fourth with you?
We ask ourselves that question quite often. It's really hard to tell. Sometimes not. Sometimes there are 5.
So Nate, steps up to you guys, and he's like, "Okay, well, we've made it. We've made it here, and I've agreed that this is where where the contract ends." And as he's reaching for his money pouch, you hear shrieks from the sky above you. As you draw your gaze upwards, you see several giant vulture-like creatures descending upon the village. You are apparently under attack.
Aren't you the creatures I frightened off earlier? And I'll ready my bow and arrow.
These are clearly not just birds. These creatures apparently have come from somewhere a bit lower, shall we say?
Oh, I got you. And before they get too far, I want to duck behind a building. While gesturing really quickly for the money pouch.
All right. So again, if you guys wouldn't mind putting the initiative in the chat.
Goddamn one.
What I like to say.
I'm like, oh yeah, it's going to be, 13, 14. No, it's a 1.
I got a 4, so 6 total.
Our rolls do suck ass.
So falls at a 10, and Jacob's at a 16. All right, Jake, what are you doing?
So these things are flying out of the sky, but they're still aloft.
They're aloft in so much that they're diving towards the town.
I'm going to shout to the elves around us to ready your defenses. And before their eyes, I will simply vanish, as with a bonus action, I take a hidden step and turn invisible. In my invisibility, I'm actually going to pull from the side of my pack a large net that I have. And if possible in this round, otherwise I will wait. I want to try to ensnare one of these giant birds in my net.
Okay, so are you ready in action then? That when it gets close enough to try and...
Yes. Yeah,
Okay.
if it's not close enough to do it already, then I'll just ready that action so that as soon as it's close enough, I will try to ensnare it.
Nice.
And I'm invisible until the end of my next, or till the start of my next turn.
Okay. Is that as per invisibility, or is that...
It pretty much follows. I mean, it's not the spell; it's a paladin feature, but it does follow the traditional. If I get hit or attack or anything like that,
Okay.
then I turn visible.
Okay, so I would take that trying to net something as an attack roll.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. So if that opportunity presents itself, then yeah, I'll become visible when I do that.
All right, so that's going to happen right now. These things
All right.
these things are diving in. One of them happens to come in, close to close to you, attacking, somebody within, close proximity to you. So why don't you?
I've never actually attacked with a net. How do you do that?
So I'm going to say that's a dex attack.
Okay. See what my
I would imagine
dexterity does.
I would imagine you're proficient.
Proficiency or no. You know what? I'm going to spend that inspiration I didn't use before.
Okay.
Well, yeah. Son of a... That's even worse. So I basically, with my -1 dexterity, got an 8 in an attempt as I become visible. And I imagine if this doesn't get them, as I become visible, the net is still tangled up, and I basically throw it, and it's still in a ball. It doesn't come unfurled, and it just bounces off of this thing harmlessly.
Nicely done. All right, so a handful of elves. You hear shrieking and shouting as these creatures descend upon the townsfolk. So let's see here. So the sorry guys, well, hold on a second. I'm trying to. Well, all right. So a beak hits Asa, but the talons miss, and he bites you for a total of 7 points of damage. A shriek goes up by one of the other ones. So I'd like actually all 4 of you to make a Constitution save.
Okay.
And that is going to be a 16.
And yes, you guys have all had time to rest up from your last encounter.
I thought so. I just wanted to be sure. You said that was a con save, right?
Yes, sir.
19.
I heard 19. I heard 16.
13.
18.
13. All right. So Asa, you are the only one affected. So you are currently stunned.
No. Okay. Well, so it's a shriek that kind of just kind of paralyzed me because it just freaked me out.
Yes.
This is a frightened effect. Cool. All right. So yeah, as that rock came by and just clawed me, and I hear this sound, I just kind of pin myself against the building and go, "Fuck that."
If it makes you feel any better, they're not rock.
No, I'm still terrified of them.
All right, Paul, you're up, sir.
Right, so I will. How many of these things are there?
There are 4 in town.
So I will change appearance to resemble them, take flight and join them, and just telepathically to them, just to kind of like guide them towards one area of town to try and collect their attack, so it's easier to manage. Do you want a deception roll for that, or?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask for that. Let's see how these guys.
That is a 19.
Yeah, I can't do that. All right, so apparently there's 5 of these things now, and are you moving with them?
I am the ringleader, and I am charging towards the vast enemy that they can't quite see. Towards the entrance to town, hopefully presenting their backs to the party, hoping that the party don't hit me.
All right, so Mike.
Is that because AJ is stunned?
I've got Asa down at a 4.
Yeah, I'm last, man. I rolled a 1.
Oh, that's right. I was looking at the saving throws. My bad. All right, so they're all gathering. Is that what's going on?
Yeah. They've apparently been directed by some force towards the middle of town.
Well, then I'm going to cast Ice Knife on one of them, which with a 4 is a 21 to hit.
Paul, did you make yourself distinctive in any way? Different.
I didn't want to risk it, so I'm just the one at the front.
All right, so Mike, give me a D10 roll.
And
That's
depending
7.
how tightly,
Okay.
depending how tightly clumped we are anyway, Ice Knife has a secondary AoE. This is gonna be fun.
So 9 damage on the Ice Knife, and every creature within 5 feet takes 3.
All right, so Paul takes 3.
It's a save.
Oh yeah, that's right. Dexterity save. I read that.
I'm taking it anyway, but it is a save.
Yeah, but you could take one if you save.
That's save or fail, isn't it? Because it's an additional
No,
effect.
it says. Oh, you're right. Now, on these cards, it's really small print.
Ice Mage is my favorite character in 5e.
Nice.
Ice Mage was my favorite character on World of Warcraft, but that was a long time ago.
All right, so Asa, you're up.
I am not up, because I'm pinned against that wall, not going, right?
Oh, that's right. All right, so meanwhile, the villagers are going to take some spear attacks at these flying creatures. One, twice, once, twice, two. Does your armor class change while you're in disguise mode?
No, exactly the same. I just look different.
So, wow, you took 7.
This was a risky strategy. Yes, I was tempted to hellish rebuke the townspeople.
And we are back to the top of the order. Asa, you're no longer stunned. Jake, you're up.
What are the buildings like here? Are they like low?
They are small structures made of hide and bone.
Oh, okay, never mind then. So nothing I can run along the rooftops.
No.
All right, well then I'm just going to run chasing after this flock of whatever. And can I get to one of them?
Yes.
So I'm just going to, as I'm running, I'm just going to leap at him with my warhammer, trying to bash into this bird and hope it's not the other one of our party. Ah, that was a 20 and it rolled away. That is a 10.
10 is going to miss, sir.
Just clipping its tail feathers as I slam my hammer down into the ground with a curse. And I'm going to, as a bonus action, who's up after me?
Me.
I'm going to actually, since he just got stunned on Julius, I'm gonna cast Shield of Faith on him, and give him a +2 AC.
Okay. Is that a bonus action to cast?
Yeah, that's a bonus action spell.
All right, I now have an AC of 15. Woohoo!
And that's my turn.
That's the leader of the party, isn't it? No, Mike's got the best.
And that, as long as that's a concentration. So as long as I concentrate on that, you'll have that for the next 10 minutes.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right, so you decided to go into the fray. So 2 of them are going to direct their attention towards you, Jake.
2 of them?
2 of them.
I'm kind of regretting casting Shield of Faith on Julius.
The first one completely and utterly misses you. Second one only hits you once. As talons bite in hard to your shoulder for 15 points of damage.
Ah!
he tried to actually get the claws in and lift you, but realized how much heavier you are than those little elves. You hear some shrieks and cries from the townsfolk as some of them are beginning to get attacked and maybe not cut apart, but definitely taking some damage from these things. That brings us to Paul.
Okay, so I still have 2 following me, or?
Yeah, you're the 5 of you are clustered around the center of town. Two of them moved into the guy that just attacked, and others are looking for targets. So they went into the townsfolk that are there attacking them.
Shouldn't it be Mike before me? Get an 18.
No, Mike's at a 6.
Okay.
I did that last time too.
Okay. In which case, so they're in groups of 2. I can like 2 at once. Okay. Can I go for the 2 attacking the townspeople? I'll fly up a little bit, keeping my form, and cast Shatter at them, trying to avoid the. Do I avoid the townspeople? They did hit me. Avoiding the townspeople. So can the vultures give me a con saving throw?
What's your DC?
DC of 13.
All right, they managed to make it.
8, so that's 4.
So 4 damage each.
Yeah. Oh, wait, no. Forgot my warlock. I don't really have a choice on what level I cast things. No, yeah, that's right. That's right. Okay, so there's 4 damage.
All right, Mike, what are you doing?
So the rest of the vulture things are on the ground.
They're all flying at ground level, attacking the townsfolk.
All right, I will cast Fairy Fire again, just to try and make it so we can freaking hit them.
Okay.
So, deck saves.
Am I making
Whopping
that?
12.
How big of an area does that hit? Because they're in.
It's a 20-foot cube.
All right, so there is the 2 that are on Jake. There are 2 that are attacking townsfolk.
I will do the 2 attacking townsfolk.
All right, they fail their saves.
All right. Cool.
That leaves us to Asa.
All right, so I'm still pinned up against the building, and the cold and the nerves. I almost dropped my bow, and then as like my presence of mind comes back in, I look around. I don't see any of the not Vrock near me, so I'm going to ready my bow and slink around the other side of the building. I'm going to roll my stealth check, which is a 13. And then I will pop out from one side of the building. If I have a shot on one of the bird creatures, I will take it.
You absolutely do.
All right, that is a 21 to hit,
That
and
hits.
18 damage is the total with my sneak attack.
Okay.
And
did you want to attack one of the townsfolk, or did you want to, or not one of the townsfolk, one of the ones attacking townsfolk, or one of the ones attacking Jake?
I'm gonna call it blind, so I would just say I'd pop out and shoot whichever one I see closest to me, which would probably be a townsfolk one. Should I possibly roll to make sure that I don't hit Paul?
No, we're good. Because you said that so you did 36 damage.
18.
18. I don't know where I don't know why I doubled it.
I don't know. I would have liked 36. It'd be great.
If it dies, we'll allow it.
It wouldn't.
Then I'm running away.
That's my whole turn.
All right, so it's 2. All right. So the townsfolk, came in with some spears. There's bleeding and there's definite injuries amongst the town, but they are trying to drive these guys off, but has not happened yet. You're up, Jake.
Okay, I just realized I never made a concentration check when I got hit by that vulture.
Okay.
You no longer have Shield of Faith on you, Julius. That was a pretty big hit. I'm going to try something as these two vulture things are on me. I'm just going to, the one that actually attacked me, I make a gesture with my free hand, summoning the ancient primal forces that I owe my oath to, and I'm channeling my divinity to ensnare this foe. It needs to make a strength or dexterity saving throw, your choice, or be restrained. And that's going to be that's going to be a DC 10.
Oh man, my choice of a physical stat.
Oh jeez. I imagine that because of this frozen landscape, and I'm from the south, that my vines that rise from the ground come up as brittle frozen things.
Weak and feeble as opposed to the verdant, lush vines you're used to.
Yeah, as I'm gesturing confident that this thing will be ensnared, they just shatter upon touching this bird, and I just go,
oops.
Oh.
That was awesome.
And utter a curse in giant.
Alright, so Asa's getting attacked. We'll see how well he does. It's not looking pretty.
Not without my AC boost.
Even with your AC boost.
Oh no. Gonna get dropped for the second time in a game. Or in 2 games. Whatever the case may be.
Have you taken any damage this fight yet?
Oh yeah, I took 7 damage right at the start.
Alright, well then you're back to being unconscious, sir.
Oh man. What'd it take?
One comes in at you, Mike. He manages to miss with the talons, but hits you with the beak. So you take 8 damage.
Ouch.
And Jake, you also take another 8. And then Paul, you're up.
Okay, so we're still split into 2 sets of 2?
Yes, sir.
How much damage did I take? You never told me.
You took 20.
20, okay.
Once you're down, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I wasn't outright dead.
No, I would have told you as such.
So how beat up are our 2 pairs looking?
One of the pair that was in on the townsfolk is the most beat up. One looks like, actually one from both group looks like they're about half gone. One from the group on the townsfolk Actually, the one that turned on Mike is actually very, very near dead.
I'll go for the group that's got the near dead member, and I'll go for another shatter.
Okay.
So it's going to be another con saving throw.
What is the DC?
13. Right. So it's going to be 13 full, or half for a fail.
All right.
So, is it too late for me to retroactively Hellish Rebuke since I did not do that, or was I hit one shot?
Since there were 2 attacks, I would allow you to use your reaction on that.
Oh, thank you. Let me roll that up, and I'll tell you what it is.
Yes, one of the from the shatter, one of the North Flume demons expires.
And just again with the telepathy, they're attacking from behind. Flee! Fly, you fools!
For the Hellish Rebuke, the DC is 13.
13 dex.
Yes.
Okay. What's the damage? Is it save or suck, or is it just?
No, it's half on this.
All right. So he passed the save.
Okay, so he takes 5 fire damage.
Your attempt to convince them to flee does not seem to have affected them.
Yeah. My charming personality has no effect.
All right. So that was on their turn. The shatter went off on his turn. So was there anything else you're doing, Paul?
No. Just
All right, Mike, you're up, sir.
All right, is there still one in my face?
Actually, the one that was in your face.
Or is that the one that was killed?
That one just dropped.
Okay, perfect.
I mean,
I will.
They're all in a cluster now.
I will cast Healing Word on the rogue by saying, "Get up, you pansy! It's not that bad." And then I will get up to one and attempt to smack it if there's one within range of me.
Absolutely.
As I feel life come back into me, I'm gonna respond with, "You try getting talons torn into you. See how you like it."
With a natural 20, that's still only 9 damage with my quarterstaff.
What?
Yeah, I rolled like crap.
9 damage. Wow. All right. Well, you still did enough to take him out. Describe what happens.
Hit him with the quarterstaff on the back of his vulture-like head, and his head whips around, and he's done.
All right. So that's 2 of them. Let's see here. Let's do it this way. So Asa, what are you doing?
All right. Well, now that I'm back and I'm gonna scuttle for picking up my bow and hastily attempt to make another shot on a rock flying over some people. And just as I go to make the shot, my bowstring just snaps, and I rolled a 1.
Oh, gee.
So I'm gonna cursing. I'm gonna throw the bow to the ground and just cursing the cold, cursing the weather, cursing all this damn place. And why did I ever leave the city for this? With that, I'm gonna scuttle up and run behind another building and try to hide again.
Okay.
That is a 13, 12 for my hide.
Okay.
Stealth.
the townsfolk lay into the creatures. Now they've kind of got them surrounded. So like between you guys and the townsfolk, the two that are there, and there's all kinds of stabby, pointy, and these creatures, having seen half their numbers falter, they're not certain they want to stick around for it, but the townsfolk aren't really allowing them to get away. Jake, you're up.
So there's still 2 of these things on me?
Yes, sir. Well, they're not necessarily on you, but they're
right in front of me.
Yeah.
So by this point, from multiple lacerations from tooth and talon, or rather beak and talon, I'm bleeding pretty profusely. The snow around me is smeared and splattered in my blood. With my warhammer in one hand, I draw my longsword with my other hand, and I'm going to attack and bonus action attack with each weapon.
Okay.
So first with the warhammer on the one bird. Are you freaking kidding me, My Little Pony dice? God, like the 5th, 6th I've rolled. That's a 10. As my blood-slicked grip, I just can't get the swing right. But I take my longsword, and with a modified 20, swing across, and there's no damage bonus on this one, right?
Correct.
But I rolled a 7. So a straight 7 damage as I cut across with the longsword in my left hand.
Okay, so you managed to get some damage in there. So let's see here. So one of the creatures lays into a townsfolk and utterly lays waste to his torso. Like, it's literally breaking bones with its beak and tearing the entrails out. There's clearly no saving this guy. He comes in at Mike for 7 damage. Are you still standing, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
All right. And he comes in at Jake for 8. Does that put you down?
Is that Talon? Another Talon attack?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, this one I imagine rakes across my back, sending me flying to the ground in a spray of my own blood as I fall unconscious.
All right. Paul, you're up, sir.
Right, how beat up does the one that just dropped our paladin look?
Both of them are looking pretty beat. They're somewhere between half and 3/4 gone. You'd guess.
Okay, so I'll target the one that actually put him down and give him a good old Eldritch Blast. That is a crit.
Nice. I love your comment, Jake.
Okay, so that's going to be crap. I was not prepared for this. God, I rolled like crap. So that is going to be 11 points of force damage. That was
11.
a terrible nat 20.
That's the second terrible nat 20. But he is still standing, barely, but still standing.
Ooh. Then in the spirit of our fair paladin, I'll go and I'll try and make an offhand attack with the dagger and see how well that goes. I imagine it looks like some kind of misshapen talon. No, never mind. 2.
All right, Mike, you're up, sir.
All right, so there's one in front of me again.
Yes, sir.
Since I just got hit, does he happen to be one of the glowing ones?
No, the glowing ones
Oh
are.
crap! I never made concentration checks anyway.
Well, it doesn't matter. The glowing ones got taken out.
Okay, then I will cast frostbite on him. He needs to make a con save.
DC 13 again.
No, 12 for me.
12. Natural 20.
Perfect.
Is that save or suck?
That's it.
All right.
It's a cantrip. That's all I got left.
All right, Asa, you're up, sir.
Is there only one of them left then?
There is 2.
2 left. Okay.
One is barely holding on.
Okay.
For my for my bonus action or whatever, can I try and get the other one's attention to just come attack me instead?
I'm certain you probably could.
Okay, I would like to try that.
Okay. All right, Asa, you're up.
All right. Seeing one nearly down and the other one caught up by the villagers and pretty well preoccupied, I'm going to come marching very stealthily but very focused on the one that's injured, trying to unsheath my rapier. And then I realized that the sword is still stuck in its scabbard from the ice and cold. So then I'm going to draw out my daggers instead and hurl one. It flies extremely wide, narrowly missing one of the townsfolk. And
are you sure you don't want to use an inspiration on that one?
No, I'm good. I'm good. Actually, I rolled a well. No, I rolled a 1, but I rolled a 6. So I rolled poorly either way. But with my last dagger, I'm going to come up behind the creature and give a mighty roar of triumph. And I'm assuming that a 22 will hit.
Absolutely.
Would I still get my sneak attack bonus on this attack? Has all my ruckus blown my cover?
No, I mean there's allies within 5 feet, so.
Okay.
You get it.
So I come up behind the thing, dealing 7 points of damage as I stab it in the back.
And describe what happens.
So it's going to die with this. So I'll come up behind it and I'll stab it like right in the shoulder. And as I see it start to fall, I will very grandly say, "Look what I have done! I have vanquished the beast!" And I will stab it 3 or 4 times, just repeatedly. Kind of like a slasher moment. Chucky
Okay.
slasher moment. Wow, I pulled a Dave right there. All right. Yeah, that's all for me.
All right, so you finish that one off. The combined might of the villagers manages to take out the last of these creatures. Blood is everywhere. Two townsfolk have been completely slaughtered. No chance of recovery. But the rest are all managed to get stabilized. Those of you who did fall, you're put back together, and are not put back together, but like seem to in a way that we we're able to get through the fight and make a full recovery. And oh man, that was tough. And over the last 2 hours, we managed to get through most of a single card. So I'm going to leave this out to you guys as to whether we want to do a session 2 on this one with this group and continue at a later venture, or whether we want to attempt to press on and see how we do with the rest of the material.
Well, it's still
good either way.
early here for me, so I am fine with continuing playing.
Gentlemen? Mike, Jake, Paul, sound off?
No, I said it's good. I'm good. I'm good to play.
Oh yeah, me and Mike are on the same time zone. It's only 7 o'clock for us.
Yeah, I'll give it a go. It's the weekend.
Yeah. I'm not going to be the one that says no. No, it's not really that late. I'm on the same time zone as Ted, and if Ted's still DMing, I guess I don't have an excuse.
Well, I have an excuse. I got to get up at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and what have you. But we'll see what we can do with it. I just know that what's here. There's no way to get through all of it in the next hour, and I certainly can't do much more than that. So
I'm also for continuing. I don't, if
I'm,
we get
I'm
through
down
part-
for a part 2.
Okay.
I'm definitely down for that. If everybody else is.
I'm down for both, so that's my vote. Run another hour and then play a second part. That's good for me.
all right, so
So we talking continuing this next month?
we'll have to figure out when, because I know the next block, the next grouping is probably going to be en route soon. So we'll have to try and squeeze in an extra session. I know it's probably such a hardship for you guys to get an extra gaming session in. Tears.
Dang it! Hitting the tipping point for D&D.
Our RPG crate says marathon. Let's rock. Apparently, we have to.
Oh, he wants us to go till 6 in the morning, probably. So your time.
I have I don't want to get into all the things that's going on with me, but tomorrow is Saturday, and Saturday is Nerdarchy Day, which means we have filming and live chat and what have you. But so we'll go on for a little bit longer, and then we'll do a part 2. I love the comments.
Let's
All
be
right, so-
conscientious of like the half-hour mark, and then kind of see where we're at there.
So
Yeah, let's just go a little further.
Naktuk Tyr honors your group for valor against the demons by naming you guests of honor at their upcoming religious rite, a joyous occasion for the village. So they throw a small party, and having traveled on the road, eating rations or sometimes not eating at all to save your stores. You kind of relish at the feast of fish and hearty crab that is served before you. While the festivities are happening, a young maiden, Kayla, she's dressed as a warrior, not as just a simple townsfolk. And after looking up, looking at her, you realize that she put on a bit of a good show in the fight against the demons. She kind of pulls you aside and says that the upcoming rite that is to happen, she wants to find out if there's any way that she could persuade you to actually enter in the caves below the ice and recover the tarragon eggs that they might use in the rite.
Well, I suppose that depends on what sort of compensation we can be looking for. My services have never been free, as a performer, as an assassin, as a renowned hero.
Well, I really don't have much to offer. I just know that you see that she's got this a little bit of a morose sense that you're picking up, from her conversation. She seems desperate, but she, resolutely says like she really doesn't have anything to offer.
Well, I would be content with an evening of your company. I do mean a date, not anything more forward than that. Just to clarify.
I was curious where you're going with that, considering what you put in the comments.
Hey, now we don't talk about those things.
I am glad you did clarify, because I was going to say an evening. It would only take but minutes.
You could still say that.
So, if I spend some time with you, you'll convince your friends to get the eggs. The egg.
Well, of course. I mean, they are pretty easily convinced to do whatever I want. They're sort of my entourage. They're happy to appease me.
Was anyone attempting to drop some eaves on this conversation, or
Most
are you
definitely.
allowing him to
I
just kind of steal this one?
just facepalm and walk away.
I imagine that Phalar wasn't present for this conversation. After being patched up a bit, I would have sought out the family members of the two slain townsfolk, offering my condolences, learning their names, and etching them on my memory as I begin to entertain thoughts of vengeance, but still holding to my tenets. So, unfortunately, whatever deal Julius makes, I may be beholden to when I return.
So the two slain townsfolk are Phelan and Neela, and they were young by Elven standards, probably to many of you, if not all of you, it's probably ancient and beyond, but to elves, what's a couple of centuries? They're babies.
I would have at some point cut one of the talons from one of those demon birds and used that to etch their names into the handle of my warhammer.
Cool.
So that's whatever deal Julius is doing, scoring a date in exchange for our services. Like I said, I'm beholden to whatever he signs us up for.
So, is that date happening this night?
Indeed.
Because I'd be happy to talk to kind of gloss over it,
Yeah,
unless you want to roleplay.
So you go. Yeah, I don't tend to do that much. So you attempt to impress the elven maiden. She
Which consists of Julian talking about himself a lot, telling so many stories that at a certain point it's impossible for him to have done all these things in one lifetime, even a lifetime that's elvish. And anybody who's paying attention can tell that she is clearly bored out of her mind and is just polite because she's getting something out of this. But he seems to think it's going really well. Any question he does ask and she starts to answer it, he'll sort of cut her off and then sort of tell his own version of, sort of answer the question himself in his own way. By the evening, he feels like the date has gone sufficiently well and that he has learned everything he needs to know about this quest that they're going to embark on. Some of that information may not be accurate. And at the end of the night, he presumptuously goes in for a kiss, and she conveniently knocks over someone else's ale, like their beer or whatever, all over the floor, and then apologizes profusely as she tries to clean it up. And then while he is distracted with that, she sneaks away.
That is awesome. So for that and for the scene with the carving on the handle, you guys can each have an inspiration. It's always good to make sure it's not just a one-way one-way street. So the any onlookers that see the interaction between Julius and Kayla, not only do they see that she's bored, but she doesn't really seem to be doing anything that sparks an interest or anything positive in her emotions. So the following dawn breaks. You go through your typical morning routine, and I guess now our tiefling could share with those who weren't in on it what he has apparently agreed to.
Well, I'm glad you've all gathered here to discuss our next adventure, because
Are we planning
it's
for a
coming.
wedding?
No, sadly. We are going to go into an underground area, I suppose, and find us some eggs.
The
Oh, I'm
Goliath
not
doesn't
frozen.
look thrilled.
I'm sure they're quite delicious eggs. They have a very important purpose, though. We don't get to eat them. He stares at the Goliath and then the Furbolg, and at the Goliath. Not sure who's the bigger concern.
I was most definitely licking my lips at the mention of eggs and simply scowl when you say we don't get to eat them.
So, are there any details that I should know that perhaps I've gleaned accurately?
Kayla pleads with you to retrieve a long dormant but valuable dragon egg that rests in the frozen depths of the North Flume. So you have to go back towards the chasm, find the cave, sneak in, and get the egg of a dragon. This is what you have agreed to.
And she didn't mention anything about the inactual dragon present. Julian didn't ask, or Julius didn't ask.
Yes, she did not mention, and every time she talked, as you pointedly said, you cut her off.
Right.
So it's an amazing it's a great amazement that you've got this much information.
I'm sure it's a large chicken egg, maybe one of those bird things we fought earlier. Certainly nothing terribly dangerous.
I asked Julius if he was able to glean any information on how far into the cave this would be. Our Furbolg friends seem to be afraid of heights, but I am deathly afraid of enclosed spaces.
I'm sure it's not deep. Probably just inside of the entrance. Animals lay eggs inside of little caves, and then they fly away or sit on them or whatever they do. I'm not trained in nature. So I suppose I can count on all of you to to handle this adventure with me, as we seem to be growing quite fond of one another.
How hard can it be to get some eggs?
I'm the worst druid ever. I rolled an 8 on my nature check. I totally believe them. They're right inside.
Oh, that's good.
I'm a Furbolg. I should know something about nature.
I'm just better that he's done this, so I'm going to try and take his coin purse.
If any of you guys want to see how full of shit I am, you are welcome to roll, and I will roll a deception or something like that.
Was that an insight?
I have no reason to doubt you.
Yeah, that'd be an insight.
So not that it really much matters, but you guys were paid by Nate 100 gold pieces apiece.
So, quite helpfully, that's a nat 20, because this is where it counts.
Oh, and I rolled a wonderful 3, and even with my bonuses, it's only like a 6 or a 7. You can
So,
you know my
you
line
still
of
beat
this.
me.
so Paul just stole from,
My insight was a 3.
Oh, were you stealing from me, Paul?
Oh,
Or
no,
is that
I-
the inside?
I will now try and steal from you because.
Okay.
What the hell?
Because I've clearly been too flamboyantly absorbed in myself and told you guys misinformation. Passive perception is a 10.
Well, that is a woeful 9.
Now, haven't we talked about this? If you want to touch me, you just need to give me the right coin.
I'll roll my eyes, assume your appearance, and then just promptly just start rubbing my hands over my chest.
Well, I suppose that's another way. I should charge you for that as well.
The scene fades to black.
Degradation of character.
You have no character.
fade to black. All right. So, is there anything that you wish to do to try and glean any more information, or are you just going to set out?
I'm ready to set out. Nobody saw me spill my tea on
Let's go.
myself.
But we see it on your beard.
I'm just trying not to laugh.
Do any of these elves in town here have with our new gold, would it be possible to buy a bow or a crossbow or something?
Absolutely.
Because I'm realizing I don't have any ranged weapons. As we were fighting birds in the last thing. So, all right, I'll just buy a longbow from somebody. I think,
On that
I think I can
subject.
afford that. I don't think they cost that much, do they?
It's like 50
On that
gold.
subject, I should buy a new bow as well because my
Or at
bow
least a
string
bow
snapped.
string.
Yeah. As
Yeah, at least
you know, given your participation in the in the fight yesterday, they're willing to offer you 50% off whatever's in the player's handbook.
All right, 50 for a longbow, so 25. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm gonna buy a longbow and some arrows.
In preparation for this, how do you feel about some custom arrows? Or bolts, in this case, instead of crossbow. So just taking a flask of oil and attempting to make a bolt that will ignite on impact. That will most likely fail.
Modifications like that don't tend to go over well on the fly. If you
Oh
want
no,
to take...
I perfectly I don't expect this to work.
Okay.
Are
I'm gonna
are
pick
you
up a short bow.
are you making this for yourself or for one of us?
At this rate, the rogue.
All right.
Oh, yeah. You'll take it for sure. Okay, I'm not proficient in that. Never mind.
What are you not proficient in?
I was gonna buy a heavy crossbow, but I can't. I can't use it.
I wanted.
If I'm gonna hit 1 out of every 3 shots, at least I better do some damage.
I really wanted a hand crossbow, and why is that a martial weapon?
All right. As long as I got a bow, I'm ready to do what we got to do.
Yeah, I'm good to go. I can work out equipment while we're on the road.
All right. So you set off, and within a couple hours, you find yourself back in the in sight of the North Flume chasm, and the little bit of knowledge that Julius was able to glean was that you don't have to cross the bridge again, but skirt the edge of the chasm itself, and you're going to have to walk down a little bit of the treachery path to then find the entrance to this cave.
I'll walk ahead of the paladin as a small version of himself, just so he can see himself conquer the heights.
I'll so it's a path winding down the
Yes.
chasm. Okay.
Yes.
I will do the proper roguish thing and take point and stealth and keep lookout.
You approach the massive steel rope bridge that spans the divide, and the wind howls up at you from the ice below. A very narrow ledge runs slightly parallel to the ridge line as it descends down the chasm, disappearing into the frozen mist. You know.
On the way there, I'm gonna. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I thought you were done. Go ahead.
No, I said so. You know, looking down, that should you fall, that's the end. There's no coming back from that fall.
Okay. Oh, on the way there, I was playing with my new crossbow and ended up losing 5 bolts.
Okay.
I had to figure out how it worked, and all 5 shots I rolled were under a 5.
Wow. So you painstakingly, walk down, this chasm, doing everything you can to make sure that each foot placement is ideal, knowing that you don't want to go over the edge. You eventually make your way to a sturdier landing and get to the cavern. The cave entrance seems to have a faint aura about it. As you enter, the ground slopes 250 feet down the ledge, which takes several hours to travel with any level of safety, for the ground is slippery and sloped down. No one wants to go for a hour-long slide ride into an unknown territory.
Not even as a penguin?
Not even as a penguin. You notice a white, translucent, ice-filled doorway carved within the wall of the ravine. The ice seems very thin. What do you do?
Well, if it'll attack me, I could burn it.
Is there any kind of runes or inscriptions on this seemingly carved door in a natural cave?
Excuse me. There does not seem to be anything about it other than it's seems to be a nice doorway.
I'm not going to open it.
Well, I suppose I got us here, so it's probably my decision to open the door. So,
It's an archway. It's not like there's a doorknob and a handle and you grab it. It looks like a sheet of ice.
So, maybe you should go first, and he's going to point towards the Filberg barbarian. Furbolg.
The Furbolg's the paladin. The Goliath is the druid.
Paladin, yeah. I'm getting it all wrong tonight. I will point towards the paladin.
Okay. So this is a sheet of ice over the archway? Is that what this is? Or is it an open archway? It's a sheet of ice covering the archway.
Yes, sir.
And it looks thin.
Yes, sir.
So should I just melt it, or do we want to bash it down?
I'm going to give it kind of a... just kind of lightly tap with my knuckles on it.
So as you knock on it, the ice door loudly crashes to the ground and shatters like glass. So it cascades down and echoes throughout the the cave walls behind, and you can only imagine in front as well.
Well, there goes our element of surprise. I hope you're proud of yourself.
Oh, golf clap as the imp turns invisible.
I mean, there's that moment where, as it shatters, he kind of goes knock, 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 and he just stands there waiting, kind of wincing as it's echoing.
So I look over at the rogue and go, I could be louder.
So as you look through the archway, the room opens up. It seems the room expands. As I said, it opens up. You see two elves, similarly, similar racially to the elves of Icebend, in a guard's garb, rushing towards the sound that you guys have just made.
That just happened.
So they begin speaking quickly. Do any of you speak Elven?
I do.
So very, 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 very flowy, very elegant Elven. That they, calmly say, state your business. What are you doing here?
And I explain in my Elvish is actually very, very good. I have lived among the elves for a long time, so I speak very fluently. And I explain to them that we come from the town and that we are sent on a quest seeking an egg. And I don't know what happened here, pointing to the broken ice sheet.
The eggs that would be
We found it that way.
The eggs that would be found therein are not to be taken away.
I turn to the rest of the party and I explain to them, they are saying we can't take the eggs.
Well, now, we've agreed to something, and I've already received my payment, so we must find a way to take these eggs. Perhaps we should learn a little more. Like, why can't they be taken?
In Elvish, I say to them, what? Why? What is the reason that we cannot take any eggs from within here?
They say one word and turn. Follow.
Follow?
Follow.
They want us to follow them.
That's never a good sign.
Well, it's probably a trap. Let's do it.
So they march through what clearly looks like an audience chamber into a massive cavern. This large chamber was carved out of solid ice. Its 50-foot high ceiling and is magnificently diamond-shaped, reflecting brilliant light rays everywhere. The walls are covered with jagged upturned ice barbs. The floor is thick, transparent in places. Below, sealed in the ice, rests a vast treasure of hundreds of coins, gems, and other items arranged in a beautiful pattern. You see bones, pottery, pieces of clothing, and even what looks like the crow's nest of a ship on a mast jutting up out of the ice. It is difficult to tear your eyes away. Along the west wall lie 3 large frozen eggs. Inside the wall, above the eggs, looms a large, giant blue dragon, guard over her eggs.
Well, now,
dragon.
She never said anything about this.
So the dragon, as well as the eggs, are completely frozen and covered in ice. The guardsman that's there says, Silaxothurilfen, or Silax, guards her eggs. She is held by ancient magic. It is believed that it is she who rent the chasm above. Should her eggs be taken away, it is believed that her rage, mighty indeed that it is, will break her free from this prison and go after those that have taken her children. We are guards here. We seek to make sure that she stays within our prison, and thus her eggs stay within her sight. As you tear your eyes away from one sight to the next, you look up at this massive dragon. You're not quite certain whether it's blue or whether it's white. It has distinctive markings of both. And even though she appears completely frozen in ice, you get the feeling that her eyes are fixed upon you and possibly even peering in to your thoughts.
I lean over to the furball and go, I think we can take it.
By way of translation of all that these elves have said, the first thing I say, turning to Julius, is you might have to explain to your girlfriend why we can't get these eggs.
No, that's not the way to approach this situation. There is no can't.
And then I
could figure
proceed to
something out.
recite what the elves said about the dragon and the chasm, and the whole time I'm just pointing like up at this massive dragon frozen in the ice, as if like.
So the elf that's been speaking to you, he switches to common. Is this your preferred method of dialogue?
About time.
It would be easier for these guys. Yes.
So there is more than just the two of us here. Please make haste to leave. You have no need to be here.
How big are the eggs?
About the size of you.
Okay.
I turn to Julius.
So omelet sized.
What was that?
I turn to
So omelet sized.
Omelet sized. I turn to Julius and I say, what exactly did she want an egg for? You didn't listen. You didn't.
It
pay
was
attention to that part.
a family matter, and I felt that if I were to impede too heavily, it would be very ungraceful. And so I let her have her reasons. It just seemed very, very important. Now, I think we should we take a moment and discuss things before we go? Privately?
So the two guards that are there, they'll allow you to step back towards the towards the audience chamber, and a couple more guards, kind of come from an alcove off to one side, and so there's now just as many of them as there are of you that you can see.
Now, I wouldn't expect you to understand this, as you are, one who puts all of your service in your god and religion, but I am a storyteller by nature, and clearly what they're telling here is just another fabrication of the truth. This is a frozen dragon with some frozen eggs that can be released, and the eggs will be fine. They'll stay frozen. They won't hatch. The dragon will remain frozen. There's not some ancient magics at play here. This is clearly just myth to keep them placated and happy with their own belief systems.
So while you guys are chatting, a group of elves from Icebend. You've been in the room, for a little while. You guys are not overly perceptive, but apparently there was a group of townsfolk trailing you guys. They just moved slower than you. They enter the room. And they're like, all right, so we're here for the eggs, right?
Yep, go ahead.
Well, I mean,
they approached us and said that, or
yes.
the other? Oh, okay. Well, you see, apparently there is more to it than what we were discussing beforehand. We might need to draw some attention away so that we can retrieve the eggs without these lovely people noticing. I'm trying to be kind of silent and discreet about what I'm saying, which is a little hard with the hand gestures that I seem to want to give off all the time.
Well, I mean, we gotta just go in there and get the eggs. I mean, they're frozen in the ice. You're not gonna be able to just walk over and pick up an egg the size of you. Like you gotta break it out. So that means we gotta get this done.
Eggs? I thought we were only supposed to get one.
Well, one or two, whatever you want to do. I mean, but you realize that if we don't get one of these eggs, instead of sacrificing the egg, they're going to sacrifice Kayla.
You left that part out, Julius.
That part was left out entirely. In that case, allow me a moment to distract these gentlemen, and you guys set to work. And maybe the distraction won't last long, but it might last long enough that you get the head start on the process. And without much further word, Julius is going to address the guards and walking toward them, say, "I know a bit about this dragon here. What is the name again of this creature?"
Silax?
Silax, yes, Silax the Magnificent. He is going to start to regale this totally made-up story about Silax with a performance check of 24. All the while walking in a way that's taking their attention and focus away from the actual dragon and eggs itself.
Are the guards just standing still together as they watch this?
Yeah.
I'd like the imp to invisibly give it a go of just wrapping all of their ankles around in a large loop of fish line.
Oh, sorry, hold on a second.
So as I'm distracting with the story, the imp is invisibly going around and wrapping their legs up.
Oh yeah.
So, what's the stealth roll on trying to tie up their legs? Because I don't think that's going to be quite so easy.
So it's going to be wonderful. Stealth +5, so that's going to be a 13 and invisible.
Yeah,
and I'm willing to burn an inspiration on this.
You wanna use your inspiration?
12, it's a little better. That makes it a 17.
All right, so you get one of their legs tied. So as this whole distraction is going on, from deeper in the cave, there seems to be these white, shaggy, red-eyed creatures that come barreling down the hallway. Trying to. So there are two of them, and they are moving without any kind of stealth or what have you. And what do you guys do?
Well, I don't notice because I'm engrossed in my story. Engrossed.
Well, there's words going back and forth between the Tundra elves and the Icebend elves. You guys are paying attention to the story, trying to get to the eggs, and combat ensues. Some people start looking at these demons. Some people start looking at the different elf groups. Where do you guys fall?
So these things are charging towards us.
I'm gonna drop initiative in the chat, please.
Can I just sit down on the sidelines and eat the rest of my rations while watching?
And I won't come into play until I realize that there's actually a battle happening. I'll be grandly gesturing this lie until then.
All right, so then it's going to be right away when one of these things sinks into you, or comes in to attack you, I should say.
You who? Me?
Yeah, you.
Okay.
So.
Second time I get dropped tonight.
So we are at a 13 armor class. So that one's going to miss, but that one's going to hit. So you take 6 points of damage. So let's see, who's the other one?
All right.
Ooh, nice. All right, so Mike, the other one that comes in on you is apparently very proficient at destruction, because the first hit hurts a lot. So your first hit, you take 17 points of damage. Second hit, you take 8.
So 25?
Yes, sir.
As the one who hits me connects, I whip out my daggers, and like them and my body kind of wreathe in flame, and it has to make a DC. What was it? What did I say earlier? 14 dex save, or take 4 fire damage.
Dex 14 or fire. That's all right, he will take the damage.
I'm going to use my reaction to reduce the damage because that hurt a lot.
So you're going to reduce the 17 by half?
Well, it's a 1d12 plus con once per rest. So I rolled a 9. So 11 damage.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that Goliath Stone's endurance.
Oh, it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it did. That scared me a little.
Alright, so 1, 2, 1, listen. Jay's last. Alright, Paul, you're up.
High ceilings?
50 foot tall.
Straight up, and can I get both of them together in a 10-foot sphere without hitting anyone else?
Yes.
Okay, then that's going to be a shatter for a con save. Excuse me.
DC 13?
I rolled 3 6s.
Nice.
So that's 18 thunder damage for full, or half for a save.
And your DC is 13?
Yep, 13.
All right, so it's... All right, Mike.
All right, I'm not very happy about getting hit that hard. So I am going to rage, throw my shield down, and grab my scimitar with my left hand so I have a quarterstaff in the right hand and the scimitar in the left.
Okay, then.
And then I'm going to bash him with my quarterstaff, which is a 19 to hit, and then the scimitar is only a 12.
The 19 will hit. The 12 is going to miss.
Okay, so that is 7 damage.
And what is that coming from?
That was the bludgeoning.
Okay. Your weapon does not seem to be as effective as you would expect it to.
Okay.
Asa.
Sorry, it caught me in the middle of eating. Okay, I got this demon right in front of me, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, I just drew out my dagger, so I'm just going to go ahead and give it a... I'll give it a slash with one, and then I'll disengage with my minor action, and then spend the rest of my movement to get up to the up to Silax and up to the eggs.
Okay.
And while I'm moving, I'm going to drop a dagger and pull out a torch. That is not a good roll. I got an 8 in total. I'm going to actually re-roll that with one of my inspiration.
Okay.
That's better. I got a 19, and this thing's already acted in this round, so I don't get my assassin bonus.
Correct.
That's a wrong dice. That is 8. No, that's 6 damage as I just stab into it, and then I'm just going to let go of that dagger and leave it there. And then I'm running over to Silax.
Okay. Jake.
So these things are pretty much right up on melee range.
Yes. There's
Two.
there's two that are right next to Mike.
All right.
Both of them look, slightly beat up.
I am going to strike at one with my warhammer, raising it above my head with 2 hands, bringing it down. And if I hit,
Are you attacking the one that's directly in front of Mike, or the one that was in front of Asa?
Mike's looking pretty bad off, so I'm going to attack the one that's right in front of him. And that's going to be a 16 to hit.
16 hits.
And as I strike at it, I'm going to imbue it with Divine Smite, using 2 spell slots. So that's going to be a total of 3d8 of damage. That is a total of 18, 19, 20 points of damage, with 8 of that being the radiant.
So 20 points of damage, you said?
Yep.
All right. Describe what happens.
As I'm bringing this hammer down, and just as it's about to strike, I summon the ancient gods of nature, and the energy courses through my hands, and I can see for a moment as those 2 names, Phelan and Neela, are etched in light, and then just a burst of radiant energy that literally sizzles the blood of these creatures, of this creature, as it splits open, and there's just this and this reverberating throughout the chamber.
That's pretty descriptive. So the second creature that's there, it I was gonna say returns in kind, but it doesn't kill you the way you killed its companion. but it does hit you for 11 points of damage there, Jake.
When we got healed up by the townsfolk, were we fully healed or just?
This was the next day, so you had a long rest,
okay.
so you should be fine.
I was a little worried when you said it doesn't kill you like you killed it, but you're still dead. Okay, 11 points. I'm good still. All right.
All right, so that goes to Paul. There's one left.
And how beat up is he looking?
He's beat up.
So I'm going to go for an Eldritch Blast. And that's a natural one. So drastically wide.
You guys are awesome at these combat rolls, I have to say. And Mike, you already shared in the chat your glorious rolls. You want to share with everybody what you did?
Of course, I attempted to go at it with the dual scimitar and quarterstaff combo again. Rolled 2 natural ones. Used my inspiration to re-roll one of them and rolled a 2. So I'm assuming I slipped in all the pieces of this blown up one and fell flat on my back, with both my weapons flying away from me.
It's hysterical, man. That's utterly hysterical. Asa.
All right. Looking around at my own companion's successes and failures, I'm going to spend my action lighting the torch I pulled out, and I'm going to attempt to try to melt the ice around one of the eggs so I can grab it. That's my turn.
Okay. Jake.
So, bolstered by the divinely radiant strike of my previous attack, and not too dissuaded by the damage I took, I'm going to strike at this other creature with my warhammer. No divine strike on it this time, just a straight up hammer blow. As I bring my hammer crushing down with 2 hands for that's a 14. I'm trying to decide if that's going to be enough. I'm going to hope that it's enough.
14 hits.
Okay, didn't waste that inspiration. And that's where's that D10? Where'd it go? Here we go. Oh, come on. So that's going to be 3 points of bludgeoning damage with that 1 on the damage die.
And if it makes you feel any better, the strike doesn't seem to hurt it as much as you thought.
It's pitiful after that last strike.
All right, so it's gonna come back at you since you're the most credible threat, and it's gonna tear into you. So he actually hits you for 20.
What's its attack like? How does it strike me?
It's coming at you with claws.
It's almost like a flashback to the demon vultures, as this thing just shreds in retaliation at me. And in a spray of my own blood, I drop to my knees, drop my warhammer from my hands, and splat into a pool of my own blood, unconscious.
All right. So, Paul.
Well, this doesn't seem worth it anymore. Okay, so this guy, would we say he's looking bloodied?
Yes.
Okay, that's something at least. So I'll swoop in with another Eldritch Blast. Yeah, it's 12. I'm guessing that misses.
What was the 12? 12? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah, 12 does miss.
And I'll take a... It's not going to go any better. I'll take an offhand dagger swipe at his rump. Oh, 19, yeah.
19 will hit.
That's the one I want that on. And then just straight damage die for offhand.
Yes.
3.
Okay. Mike. Better than the rest. Last round, I hope. If you are trying to talk, you are still muted.
He's too ashamed.
Thank you. I'm going to stand up, hang my head, pick up my shield and scimitar, re-rage, since I didn't hit anything, and then go after.
You made an attack roll. That's all that matters.
Oh, you don't have to hit?
You don't have to hit. I thought it was just an attack roll.
Ah. Okay, well, I'll pick up the shield and scimitar and then go after the one.
Did you call him D1?
I said D1.
Oh,
the
D1.
One.
I just was curious. Is it like, are you looking at my notes? Because that's how he's labeled.
Oh, really? That'd be awesome.
I'm like, is there a camera here somewhere that I'm not aware of?
Mike's not telling you that he's got a copy of the adventure right next to him. He's following along.
No, that's just my shorthand for how he's labeled for his hit points on my scratch sheet.
Mike's actually.
And he's definitely got a camera over your shoulder.
You don't have to take any hit points off your sheet.
Did you miss too?
Oh yeah, I missed bad. I rolled another one.
Why are you still using those dice?
Get some different dice.
These are my brand new dice.
Just get better at rolling then, Mike. Come on, man. All right, right. Is my natural fire from my little torch actually affecting this ice whatsoever?
Very slowly.
Very slowly. And I'm looking around, I'm seeing a demon, I'm seeing someone just get dropped, I'm seeing elves fighting elves. Oh, all right. I'm gonna start using my thermatology to kind of shape and move the fire around the eggs more, hoping it'll increase the process, and I'm just gonna spend all of my energy and time on that.
Nice. Well done.
Thank you.
All right. Jake, death save.
All right, I'm going to use my heavy easy roller die here. That's an 11.
That's a pass. Yeah, Doug says, easy roller dice, whether it's your first set of dice or your 1 million set of dice. Easy roller dice.
Oh, yep. That's my my gunmetal and acid green die right there that just rolled the 11. That's one success.
All right.
I got the tray. It's not helping.
Mike, it's your skill. You got to go back to dice rolling college.
I dropped out.
So they come at you with a slash, with a couple slashes of their claws, Mike. They manage to connect once for 7. That brings us to Paul.
The imp's been watching the pathetic melting attempt this entire time. I will briefly wink into just visibility, just to look him in the eye, just disappointed, shake his head, and not even caring if he's too close to the fire. Just throw down a flask of oil at the torch.
Because I'm raging, I only take 3, correct, Ted?
Yes. Yeah, you take half because it's not psychic.
Whilst that's possibly melting.
I'm also not a
so is it
high enough level of a barbarian to be
So
do I get to make a save to get out of that, or I just get blasted with a flame?
Is it a splash damage weapon?
The oil itself,
Are you doing acid or are you doing a flask of oil?
just throwing a flask of oil down at the.
Okay, well
At
I'm
the
gonna say it's a deck save, 2d6. Does that sound reasonable to you, Paul?
That's fine. The imp's just trying to melt the ice and piss off AJ.
Yeah, it's
So
okay. What's the DC?
Go with 12.
Okay. Yeah, I just get it. I just rolled 12. Or
Right.
all in all, 8 plus 4 is 12.
You're not high enough to have evasion, so you take half. Do you want to roll it, Paul?
A quarter because he's a tiefling.
Oh, yeah.
Fire.
So that's 5. So quarter
So
that.
what?
And then for
Take
my actual,
1 damage.
for my actual turn, I will rinse and repeat. Eventually, I'll hit it with an Eldritch Blast. No, it bounced out the tray for a 5. No.
His beard gets a little singed, and he gives the imp a little nasty grin.
I'll use my movement to fly above the eggs, ready to drop it and help at some point.
All right, so you missed the demon.
Soundly.
All right, Mike.
Third one's still in my face.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, I will attempt to attack him.
No, nobody seems to be able to make attack rolls.
Got Nate. I'm getting better.
All right, Asa, are you still trying to melt eggs?
I'm gonna
So
go
is that,
grab big ice.
Is that flat, like oil burning the ice like all over it? It's all kind of on fire now?
Ice doesn't remain
Oh,
on fire. It's not wood.
Well, I just
So-
don't know how long the oil burns before it burns off, and how well that's melting the ice.
I would imagine it's it's done some damage, but it's not enough. It's gonna take a while to get those eggs out.
All right. How are the elves elf versus elf battle going?
You tell me.
Okay. It's looking like the guards have been properly bolstered, and they're actually fighting back the townsfolk pretty clearly. Looking around, I'm seeing the townsfolk are losing. My people are losing to the demon, and I am somewhere between need to help in the combat and need to get this egg out. Otherwise, everyone's going to die. So I'm going to take my other dagger and give it a throw at the demon.
Okay.
While focusing whatever other energy I can on the egg itself. Do I have advantage for any reason on that roll?
Advantage, no. But
Okay.
you can get the sneak because Mike was in melee with it.
Oh, good. Okay, that'll work. All right. So I got a 19.
That
So
hits.
I'm guessing a natural 19. Yeah, it's going to hit. And that puts us out to 9 damage in total.
You
At least I'm
rolling
good for
3
something.
dice there plus a modifier,
Yeah, a D4, 2D6, and a modifier.
and you're getting 9.
Yeah, 3, 3, and a 1.
Just think if you'd
Yeah, I
have
only have a
crit,
plus
you
2. My
could've
dex is not that high. Right?
All right, Jake, death save number 2.
I'm playing a halfling next time with Lucky. Gosh. All right, death
said. We
save
gotta
number
hit fourth level
2.
to get lucky.
Easy roller die. That is a 10.
All right, that's 2 saves. All right. I pre-rolled my my round to speed things up. Mike, he came in at you, and you managed to get your shield in the way. Scrape, 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 scrape. You live to fight another round. Paul, you're up, sir.
Okay.
Okay, so demon egg. Demon. Statistics say that eventually I'll hit it. 13.
13 misses.
Eventually, 10. Eventually.
Mike, you're up, sir.
All right. I'm casting Healing Word on the guy that I didn't realize was down because I was busy getting dice. So he will regain a whopping 3 hit points.
Woohoo!
And new dice, going to swing at the guy in front of me. That's better. 17?
17 will hit solidly.
Nice. Actually got something. I don't even know what to roll now.
Dice.
Since
Roll
I'm still
dice.
raging, that's a 6 slashing damage.
All right, you fell the dude.
Did the slashing seem more effective than the bludgeoning?
It did.
Okay.
So just describe your kill, sir.
I just shake my head in shame and walk away because it took so effing long.
All right, it is 11 o'clock. I think we're gonna hold off here, and we'll describe what happens with the elves and the dragon and the eggs. We'll leave on this cliffhanger to see what happens next time. So if you guys out there are enjoying, the run through of this, you can get your own copy of this adventure or previous adventures or future adventures from RPGcrate.com. Again, there's a coupon code down in the description below. Nerdarchy RPG Crate will get you 10% off your first month subscription. Go check it out. It's a great crate. Not only do you get this kind of stuff, but you get T-shirts sometimes. You get gaming books sometimes. You get all kinds of great stuff. This is the cool shirt that came with this particular adventure. One of my favorite dragon shirts. So go check it out. Thank you to RPGcrate.com, or thank you to RPG Crate. I hope you guys had fun. I have to figure out what to do to, get your guys' dice rolling, up to snuff, because I feel bad when you guys spend half the combat on the ground.
I don't mind
It's not
it.
your fault. No, it's a lot of fun. It doesn't bother me one bit.
I mean, that's the nature of the game. So,
to those of you out there in the internet world, I hope you enjoyed the game. I hope you had fun. Stay tuned for episode 2, part 2, coming to a Friday near you sometime in the future. So until next time, stay nerdy.
Take
Stay
it
nerdy.
easy.